Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and thank you for spending some time with me today. Please enjoy this compilation of some of my best kitchen design videos. And if you are looking for some design answers for your space, be it a kitchen or otherwise, check out the description box down below or go to intro.co/GarrettLeChic to book a one-on-one virtual consultation with me where I can answer any and all of your design questions. With that said, please enjoy. Today, because in this video we're talking all about how to make your kitchen more functional and some easy tips you should remember and you could do to your space today. The first of which is all about getting rid of some of the unnecessary things you have, like decor. Stop decorating your kitchen with decor. You don't need it. You can find beautiful utensils and items you will actually cook with to decorate your kitchen with. Some of those things can be a beautiful vessel with great utensils in it that you regularly use. Wooden utensils are great. I love a cutting board in a kitchen. Also a charcuterie board can be great. You could do a large fruit bowl that's really good in your kitchen. Salt and pepper grinders, great to have in those spaces. My favorites are those cutting boards and charcuterie boards because we can use them to lean up against a backsplash, maybe cover some of those unsightly outlets that we all have. I know a lot of designers will just say, move the outlets and put them under the cabinets, but if you're not doing a big renovation, you're stuck with them, so we can cover them up and disguise them a little bit. There's also some like electrical components, extension cords that are flat that you could get to plug into outlets, so it's really streamlined behind those cutting boards and charcuterie boards. Check out my Amazon storefront, linked in the description box down below to shop some of them. But decorate smart and use items you actually need to use in your kitchen. That way we can eliminate some of the clutter and mess on the countertops, and we can make the most of the space in your cabinetry that you have. That's another big way to make your kitchen more functional, is to increase the organization you have. Once again, shop some organizers in my Amazon storefront, but get organizers that fit your cabinetry and really think about what it is you need. Do you need more plate storage? Let's get a stand that will double the amount of space we have in our cabinetry. Or, you could have some custom shelves made to fit in those cabinets perfectly to increase that space. In drawers, there's a million and one organizers. You can get spice drawer organizers. I love those. You can get cutlery organizers, of course. I'm also a big fan of just getting like a rubber liner for a drawer. That way I can put all of my cooking utensils in there and they don't slide around when the drawer opens and closes. 10 out of 10 tip right there, and it's super simple. Anyone could do that. There are DIYs and hacks out there to make custom organizers for your drawers, but you do have to know how to use a little bit of tools and things like that to create those. I'm a big fan of drawers in a kitchen because of the organization, but adding as many as possible is going to be the best bet for you. Now, that does take a little bit of upgrading or renovation to do, so if you're in that position, add as many drawers as possible. It will be a game changer for your home because drawers take the fullest advantage of the cubic square footage within a cabinet. So there's just, a lot more space. Like, what are you doing? Are you getting on your hands and knees to get into the back of the cabinet? Maybe it's your fantasy, but it's not mine. I would rather have a drawer that allows me access to the back of that cabinet. So adding in as many drawers as possible is much better for storage and organization in a kitchen. Now, if you're not redoing all of your cabinetry, you can of course get some inserts fixed in place that have that pull-out feature, or like I said, you can get extra shelves made to add additional storage into your cabinetry. And remember, just because you're doing some customization after the fact doesn't mean it can't be done or it shouldn't be done. Cabinets are made to be changed over time and you can have things added onto them. Just make sure it looks good and professional. So I recommend a woodworker for those sorts of projects, but it's totally doable and you can upgrade your kitchen as is to be way more functional without having to do a giant massive renovation or rip everything out. Now, obviously it takes getting creative to come up with some of these solutions. No matter what project you're working on in your home, it's worth talking to a designer to get some creative ideas. You could always book a one-on-one virtual design consultation with me where I can look at your home and answer some of those difficult questions using the link in the description box down below or by going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. And as a designer, one of my favorite things to add functionality to a home that a lot of people think is decorative but really does change the way you interact with your space is the hardware on your cabinetry. Upgrade it, or at the very least, add some. A lot of people, you would not believe it, they don't have any hardware on their cabinetry and they live with their homes like that for years. Hardware on cabinetry is a big deal. And what I always recommend you do to get the most function and usefulness out of your cabinetry is to put knobs on doors and pulls on drawers. Say that 10 times fast. But having knobs on cabinet doors means that you don't have to touch them. Your hands aren't gonna get caught in that pull or anything like that. Super simple and easy to open up. It's one little bit you have to touch and boom, it's open, good to go. Plus we get a little bit of variation from what's happening on the drawer. For a drawer, I like a pull better because it's just more functional and easier to open and get access into a drawer. But here's a pro tip. If you have a long drawer, try your best to get one oversized pull instead of two smaller ones, because two smaller pulls, you'll have to put your hands on both of them at the same time to open that drawer so it doesn't get stuck, but one large one in the center means you can open that drawer with one hand instead of two. So be sure you're using some of these best practices to get the most functionality out of the space. And a part of changing out the hardware on your cabinetry can be about your faucet. You don't realize the amount of functionality that comes out of a sink faucet in a kitchen. Really, it makes a big deal because that's one of the most heavily used and useful items in your space. So if you're looking to increase the functionality, let's look for a faucet that offers some additional features to it. And I'm not talking about, oh, it's got, you know, a special sort of lever or something on it. I mean, there's all sorts of things. You can get them that have expendable necks. I prefer something that doesn't pull out, but it just has a longer kind of goose neck with a expansion or stretchy cord on it. Those I just find to be more functional because I don't have to fight getting a hose back into a faucet and under the cabinet. That just seems unnecessarily difficult to me. I don't like those. There's also faucets you can get that touch on and off, so if your hands are messy, you don't have to touch a little lever to turn them on. You can also get faucets, they're quite popular in the UK, but gaining popularity in the US, that have temperature adjustment settings, so you can have boiling water coming out of it. Obviously, it's a little bit of a danger zone depending on your family and lifestyle. Remember, you can also go with an accent faucet. It doesn't have to match the metal everywhere else. Right now, a big trend in kitchens is mixing stainless steel appliances with brass hardware on cabinet and mixing a bronze faucet. So you can play around with that, add functionality and aesthetic and design-wise. That's one of the best places to put a little bit of an upgrade into your kitchen. Even if you're not doing a full renovation, if you just have one of those older styled plastic faucets, now's the time to upgrade it and really get your space looking good. Now, when it comes to hardware in kitchens and we're talking about cabinetry and door styles and all of these things, my clients right now, when they're moving into their forever homes, they're looking for ultra low maintenance, they're loving flat-faced cabinets. It's not for every home, it's not for every style, it's not for everyone certainly, but if you're looking to have a kitchen that is purely functional, those flat-faced cabinets are going to be your best friend because they don't have grooves on them, they don't have ledges on them where dust, dirt, and debris can collect. They're easier to clean and wipe off if they get wet or get a little smudge on them or something. This is something to consider. And you don't have to have a flat fronted cabinet that is shiny or glossy. We see that quite often and that's okay, but you can get them in authentic, genuine solid woods that are matte or satin finishes on them. They can be beautiful and get you some of the warmth that you typically expect with a lot of detailed cabinetry door profiles that you maybe don't always see in flat face cabinets. So be on the lookout for them because this is something that can increase the functionality of your kitchen and space, and you can juxtapose styles too. A lot of people look at this and they're like, oh, that's modern, I don't want it. Well, if we add in some traditional details like a great piece of crown molding, beautiful baseboards everywhere else, we have this be an accent point in the space, you can do this and get your space looking and feeling exactly how you want without compromising on anything, especially the functionality. Flat face cabinets are not for everybody, but they can be if you are 100% function oriented in your space and you're looking to improve that a little bit. Now, if you are changing out your cabinet doors, or I don't know, you could be doing a whole kitchen renovation and watching this for some pro tips, love that for you, book a consultation with me beside the point. I recommend upgrading the hinges on your cabinets. And this is something you can do whether you're renovating or not, but doing soft close hinges actually adds a lot of functionality that people don't realize. They think soft close hinges are just so, you're not slamming cabinet doors, which is a plus, I will give it that. But the great part about soft close hinges that a lot of people don't realize is that they have a bit of a suction feature almost. So if you gently tap your cabinet doors and you don't have soft close hinges often, they will come close to closing, but not completely. And then you may bump into them, you may get caught or snagged on them, your clothing on the handles or something if they're out of place. But soft close hinges, you give it a little bit of pressure and it pulls that cabinet door in completely so it's fully flush and closed. It is something that a lot of people are after and expecting in 2025, so be sure you're thinking about it in your home. And when it comes to your home and you're looking for some creative ideas, some interesting solutions, or you just are one of us that loves interior design, I'd like to invite you to join our community of design lovers here. Be sure you take a moment, hit the subscribe button, become a part of our LeChic family. We would love to have you here, and I'd also greatly appreciate if everyone watching could give this video a like. Now, one of my personal favorite features to have in a kitchen is an absence of something, and that would be a gap, a filled in gap of space above a cabinet. And there's lots of ways you can do this, but I want to share with you a creative idea that I'm seeing right now. So there's lots of things you could do, like adding a soffit above. And this is something I often recommend to clients who want a partial renovation in their kitchen by filling in that soffit, adding a beautiful molding on top of that cabinetry, and it looks like it's built in and very custom. But something I recently ran into with a client was she didn't have a lot of space, didn't really make sense to add a gap, but the kitchen was very dark. And she was actually a little bit taller. So we raised the cabinets up, or at least that's what I recommended, was to raise them up about 4 inches to fill in the gap of space above and shift the shadow line on the countertop. And she was very taken with it. But a DIY that's happening right now that people are really liking to do, and a creative idea I want to share with you, is actually raising your cabinetry and adding a cubby underneath. Now, this is an open shelf, and a lot of people will not be a fan of this, but it creates the illusion that the cabinets are much taller than they are, and you can do this in an accent detail, be it a stained wood or a painted feature. You can add this in without having to disturb the backsplash, and I think that's really great. You get that built-in full look, and you can add some detail into this too. You can add decorative trim, you could add corbels onto something like this. It's a creative idea that I always want to make sure you're aware of, and I share these with you when I see them because it could get you that really high-end luxury and customized look and feel without having to splurge too much for it and use your existing cabinetry. Now, when we are talking about cabinetry and kitchens, one of the most functionality driven features in this space is going to be your countertops and backsplashes. The biggest trend in countertops and backsplashes right now are slab backsplashes that either match or contrast with your countertops. Love it, beautiful detail, and I recommend it all of the time. A lot of my clients love it. It's not for every home and it's not for every budget, and that's totally okay, but if you're going to do this, one of the most functionality driven details you can add to your countertops or backsplash is to do them in a honed finish. The reason I say this is because shiny finishes show absolutely everything. Every fingerprint, every grease spot, every little speck of dust you will see on a shiny finish. But if you go for a honed or even a leatherized countertop, you will not see a lot of those spots, especially if you're doing something delicate like marble. A honed finish on marble will hide a lot of the etching and wear spots, as where shiny finishes will definitely showcase and show those wear spots off, and you may not want that. Now, one of the top things you can do that doesn't require any renovation or changes in your kitchen, you can have done in a day, is actually to declutter. A lot of people will overlook this fact, pure and simply because they have more things than their space can hold, and that's totally okay. But decluttering your countertops will mean that you don't need a bigger kitchen. Most people don't actually need them. Or see if there's something you can maybe add to the space to add additional storage space into that kitchen area that will relieve a lot of the clutter on the countertops. Declutter those areas and make them more open and usable, and your kitchen will feel like it's a completely brand new space without you having to make any major renovations. Now, here's a little bonus tip for you, because sometimes you have an existing space and you can't make all of the changes you want to, but one of the best functionality and features you can add into your kitchen is actually under cabinet lighting. You can get rechargeable lights that magnetically stick under your cabinets. You can pull them off and recharge them as needed. Shoppable in my Amazon storefront, so be sure you check out the link in the description box down below to check that out. But these add so much functionality without you having to have an electrician out and wire all of these things. Yes, it has to be recharged. Okay, it has to be plugged in. You keep that cord handy and you can actually leave them in place sometimes. They're just magnetically stuck on so you can remove them. Super, super great idea. A 10 out of 10 idea for your kitchen to improve the functionality, add some additional lighting, and make it more functional if you can't wire in those LED lights. This is definitely something to think about. Like I said, bonus tip, check out the link in the description box down below to shop them on my Amazon storefront. Well, there you have it, everyone. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure you check out this one right here, and I will see you over there. Hey Hey there, hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in today's video, I absolutely had to showcase this incredibly designed kitchen, courtesy of my friends at Toll Brothers. For more information on the home, if you're interested, check the description box down below. But this design is spectacular, and you have to see these details. Starting with this gorgeous extension on the island here, look at how fantastic this is. It's in the same countertop material. This is a leatherized quartzite with an extra thick edge on it. Look at how spectacular that is. And it's at normal dining height. So these are just standard dining chairs. This is great for entertaining, and it's a perfect way to overcome when you have a large space like this. Instead of just doubling the width of the island, we actually have provided additional seating. We would not be able to fit 6 dining chairs at an island this length. We'd have to double it. And this is a spectacular idea. Now, the kitchen itself, the cabinetry, you have to see these details. First of all, we have all of the built-in appliances. Look at how good they look. Clean, stainless steel, love the built-in features, but it's really the tone of this wood that I think is the gem of this kitchen, right? It just looks so spectacular because this is a warm tone. It's not yellow, it's not red. It feels very neutral, and so it works with a lot of other wood tones. The black hardware on it is great. Black is a trend for hardware, but in this kitchen, because of the warmth of the cabinetry, it doesn't have that high contrast. There's lots of other black reference points in this house that you will see, and I think it works beautifully. We have full overlay cabinets that are spectacular, and of course, you know, it's 2025. We gotta have the soft closed doors. It's just the standard that needs to be met. The countertops, once again, they continue throughout here. So even though we have this little area here, it's beautiful. This could be a perfect coffee bar, but you're gonna see later that we don't necessarily need it. I love a built-in refrigerator. This is just spectacular, oversized. You don't get height like this unless you go built-in, and that is really accentuating the heights of the ceiling in this space. It's something you should really be thinking about when you're doing your kitchen. I also love the height of the cabinetry, how far it extends upwards. Because we have tall ceilings here, there are also soffits above that are kind of filling in that gap, so we don't have to extend the cabinetry all the way, which I think is wonderful. This kitchen does feel very modern, but some of the classic details that are making it feel timeless are some of the things like the shaker style doors and this paneling trim detail on the island. I love the way that this is inset here because it just looks great. It's a classic detail, but you can see we have the extra thick edge here, and there's no top rail, so it's kind of got a modern take on something very traditional. Also, we love a two-tone kitchen, and bringing in the white here on the island, a great genius idea. We're pulling from the lighter tones in the stone tops for the white here, and I always say match your white tones, so this is a little bit of a creamier, warmer white that's featured in the countertop material, and that's a great idea to remember. You've got to see what's happening behind me though, because this is epic. This detail right here is why I said you have to see this space. Look at this. There's so much to go into here. First of all, once again, the gorgeous countertops, slab backsplash all the way up, perfectly clean, but it's this floating shelf in front of the window detail that really has got my mind boggled. Okay, this is just gorgeous. Recessed LED lighting underneath, and you can see the outlets are just here on the backsplash. A lot of people will tell you this looks messy or it doesn't look great. It looks beautiful here because we have enough reference points to make it work. They're high-end, they're clean, they're sleek, they look great. But this right here, I'm sorry, I've never seen anybody do this before. The floating shelves in front of the window, and then the sill of the window, all of the trim is in the same cabinetry material, the same stained color as all of the cabinetry on this wall. It just looks amazing. This is incredible. And this is a really great way to bring additional natural lighting into your space without compromising on having storage. Well, yes, these are open shelves. You're getting great storage here that we otherwise would not have because of the placement of the window, or we'd have to bring cabinetry all the way up to the edge of it and lose a lot of the light. This is so genius to me. It may not be for everybody, but it's a detail that represents innovation in design, and it makes me so excited. Also, take note of the contrasting tile above. This is beautiful, this kind of pencil tile detail here. I just love it. And it's not staggered or stacked. It's just a clean and simple layout all the way up to the ceiling. It's a beautiful detail, and the warmth of this tile is featured in the countertop material. That's something you're always looking for. Even if you don't do a slab backsplash, you want to pull that color from the countertop to get that continuation. Also, just the accessorizing here. Look at how great these little plates are here. They have that slight green taupey tone to them that's all over these countertops. countertops. This is great. And this is not, you know, your average white countertop, okay? It's not basic, it's not simple, it's timeless, it's classic, and it's got great warmth to it that this kitchen is really showcasing here. There's another detail here that's really fine. You may not see it on camera, we'll get a close-up of it, but this countertop does not extend the normal 1.25 inches out past the front of the cabinet. Honestly, this is probably a 1/2 inch, and it represents new modern design. It almost has a furniture-like feel to it, because with furniture, you see the hardware projects out a little bit further than you would see in a typical kitchen, but here it's a little closer, and I think that's amazing. The hardware does stick out like you would see on a piece of furniture, and it's a great detail to think about. Once again, we have great cabinetry in this kitchen. Cabinets either side of the vent hood are wonderful because, like, you know, open shelves are great, but we need a lot of storage here. So these cabinets are great for it. They extend up not all the way to the ceiling, because there's this incredible ceiling detail that extends into the living room, which we will talk about in another video, so make sure you're subscribed for that. This vent hood is spectacular. I'm always telling my design clients to take it up further, you know, have it a little elevated. I don't want to be leaning into it. So put it on the wall a little bit higher than you would typically see. And this is a great detail. Speaking of which, if you're working on a kitchen, you're doing a renovation to your home, or you're just looking for some ideas, be sure you consult with a designer like me. You can book a consultation with me going to the link in the description box down below, or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. Let's talk about this backsplash here, because I love a slab of stone. What can I say? As a designer, we just love gorgeous stone, and this is so great. The leatherized finish on this is really wonderful because it's not polished and shiny, but it's not perfectly matte either. It's gonna hide a lot of wear and tear that might happen in a kitchen, but this finish is really great. We have a seam right here and a seam right here, but because of the movement and the lines of the stone, you barely see them, and that is spectacular. This is something you also don't see a lot. The oversized oven, it's got additional ovens here as well as on the wall. It's nice to have drawers underneath, but when you have enough space, you add as many drawers as possible into a kitchen, and we've got plenty here that you could put pots and pans in, so having additional oven space is really wonderful. Plus, it's just a great feature to have. I love the metallic finish to bring into a kitchen like stainless steel has. Same thing goes for the vent hood. Also, this vent hood is wonderful because there's no sharp lines on it. These are all really soft and smooth. That's something you don't see a lot, and I think is making a big deal in this kitchen. It's a small detail, but those make the difference. Okay, the ceiling detail is a gem you absolutely have to see. This is giving what I need to see, and this is next level design in my opinion. I want you to take note of the fact that there is upper lighting on the cabinets here in the center where the vent hood is. They're glowing up onto this detail, and it draws attention there. It is really so beautiful. This extends all the way up. There's a 2-story living room beyond that you will see in another video, so be sure you're subscribed for that. But have a look at these light fixtures here. This is a statement. This is a moment you have absolutely got to see. I love the shape and feel of these. The fact that this is a dome means that they're not going to collect dust inside of them. They're going to be easier to clean, and they look beautiful. I love that there's 3 of them at different heights because it creates a smooth transition, right? The lowest one feels natural to have over a dining area like we have here, but then the upper one feels more natural to have in a kitchen. It feels a little more integrated into the ceiling, and it's a really wonderful detail to consider, the transition between the 3 of them. Plus, in a larger space like this, sometimes you need more than one light fixture. You have to go with something really big, but you can also go with multiple of them. It's also worth taking a look at how great the black hardware looks on this faucet. Because we have so much other black detail happening throughout the space, a lot of the window trim is black, we have black metal features in the furniture and decor in the rest of the house. The black faucet works so beautifully, and we love a magnetic feature. I love the spring. Also, you don't see them often that have this kind of square shape to them, which looks really beautiful. It's a modern detail, but in a way that just feels great and traditional. Also, it feels very timeless. We've got a stainless steel sink. I don't often recommend a stainless steel sink because it doesn't work in every space, but in this house, it really does. It looks spectacular. A nice clean surface here. This is for the dishwasher vent, but there's not a lot of busy stuff happening here where we've got buttons and other faucets and soap dispensers and all of the things. It just looks really clean, and that's what you've got to do on an island to make it really work beautifully. Plus, you don't want to drill a bunch of extra extra holes and stone this gorgeous. Like I said before, the island is white. We've got the stainless steel dishwasher, keeping it classic and clean. Hey there, surprise if you made it this far in the video. Now's your opportunity to hit the subscribe button and join us in our design-loving community. If you want to see more home tours like this or some great tips on how to decorate your own, be sure you join us and become a part of our LeChic family. If you've made it this far in the video and you're enjoying what you're seeing, be sure you sound off in the comment section down below. Share with me what your favorite detail about this kitchen is, and I would greatly appreciate if you took the moment and gave this video a like. Let's talk about some of the secret little details this kitchen has. I think you need to see that make a world of difference in a home for the convenience and the usability. Let's talk about it. Come over here with me. This floating shelf here extends all the way over to here where we have this little desk utility space. The built-in shelves here are perfect. This is a great little homework area. You're in the kitchen cooking dinner, the kid can be over here doing the homework. Okay, I love that. Or it's just a convenient little area to write a note, to keep your cookbooks, recipes, that sort of storage. It's wonderful. I love the reference back to the green that this house has. All of these little green features, even though this is not the same green as the countertop, okay? This is a really soft green. This is kind of an emerald green. It's that reference point. It's that tie back. And when we use multiple tones of the same color, it creates elevated design. It's just a smooth transition between the two. Like this plant is not the same color. This fake plant is not the same color as the countertop, but the chair isn't either. Those plates there, they are. And it's all of that mix that makes it feel natural and makes it feel elevated, which I think is spectacular. We have another window here, once again trimmed out in the same detail, that wood detail, as the cabinetry. It's just bringing me so much joy. This looks beautiful. We're letting a ton of light in, which is great. Now behind me is the gem. Come over here around this corner because we've got a secret pantry, but look at how big this is. Look at how great this is. It's sparking joy. Let's just say that. We've got a different type of cabinetry here. It's lighter, it's brighter. In a space like this where we don't have natural light, we don't have any windows, it's nice to go a little bit lighter, but the butcher block countertop, this is great. And you don't see this a lot anymore. It's bringing so much warmth in. And this is something that, you know, hey, maybe it's not DIY here, but you could potentially do this in your home. It's beautiful. It really is. And I love that this is a really creamy, warm tone on this cabinetry here. And it's kind of bouncing off of the yellow tones in this butcher block. It's great. This is wonderful. Look at the curved detail here. These are the details that make the difference. Okay, this stands out to me. This is like, it's giving what needs to be given. The curve here all the way down. It's clean, it's sleek. We're getting a little bit of extra space, but it feels natural to be in the corner here. Like I said, there's a great coffee bar out there. This would be the coffee bar in my house. Okay, trust and believe. I love the shelves. They extend not all the way to the ceiling, but they go very high. We might need a ladder to get to them, but there's a lot of storage space here. This is like a china closet almost. I love that. Ooh, I love that. You know, you could do the pantry down below. We've got racks here, great for storing produce or any of that sort of thing. We've got a ton of drawers, which are just wonderful, but the height is giving what needs to be given. The LED lighting integrated into the shelves, 10 out of 10. My china collection would look fantastic in here. Gotta check this out because it's substantial, it's chunky, it's great. You will never regret doing oversized trim, and it looks so spectacular. Flooring is where my interest is peaked right now. The cabinetry color works nicely with other wood tones like we have here on the floor. It's a white oak look with a white wash on it, so it's light and bright, bouncing a lot of light around this gorgeous home that has a lot of light in it now that it may not have had otherwise. I also love the tie back to the white cabinetry on the island. It's not often you see a wood tone that references back to a paint color and an additional wood tone, so it works out beautifully here. This is an engineered flooring, like I said, in a white oak that looks really beautiful. A lot of people are against having a wood floor in a kitchen, but I absolutely disagree because I love the continuation and that smooth feeling from room to room. We don't have a harsh line where we switch to tile or something in an open concept space. In my opinion, this is way better, and it's all about how you live with it and maintain it and take care of it, whether or not you'll have any sort of issue. But if something majorly goes wrong, you're gonna have an issue no matter the flooring. So I think this looks spectacular in this kitchen. All of the details here are giving exactly what needs to be given to create something that truly is spectacular. So like I said, if you're interested in this home or one like it, check the description box down below. You can Because in this video, we're talking all about some dated kitchen trends that are back. So be sure you watch the video before you rip any of it out. Now, one of the first trends that is back in style that hasn't been for a while, but always timeless and classic in my opinion, I'm glad everybody is noticing, are glass cabinet doors. Now, this isn't for everybody in every kitchen, but what I can tell you, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because, you know, I work with a lot of clients. I meet with them on a virtual consulting basis, and I think probably in the last 6 months, there have maybe been 2 clients who I have not discussed glass doors in the kitchen with. Everybody is loving them. Everybody is coming to me and wanting them. They want them somewhere in some form in that space. And I think it's great. I love a glass door because you can display things behind it. You have to be really organized though, if you're going to have this. Now, I personally like this glass cabinet situation to make sense in a space. So some clients will come to me and say, I want to have it be like a butler's pantry type of situation where I can display my fine china behind the glass doors. We'll do this in an area where it doesn't have to flank a vent hood or something like that, but it's kind of off to the side. Or some clients will be like, hey, I want perfect symmetry. Like I want it here. Maybe they want it on the upper cabinets above. I've had a client who built in upper cabinets, custom, and then added glass doors on top of them. That was fabulous. There's lots of things you can do, but I'm seeing a lot of people really liking the glass doors on cabinetry. Now, obviously, I'm always gonna tell you the pros alongside the cons. The pros are, yes, you can see everything in the cabinets and it's gorgeous. It's an extra detail you can add in and that's beautiful. But the cons are, you have to be super organized if you're gonna have glass cabinet doors because you can see everything. You have to limit yourself so you don't get the full advantage of space that cabinet offers. That's okay, you just may need to pare back a little bit, all right? But also, you have to clean glass. It shows every speck of dust, every smudge, every little bit of grease. So there is some extra maintenance there. It's just about whether or not you're willing to take care of it and you're willing to put up with the extra maintenance or not. I actually just had a client who she only wants flat cabinet doors because she doesn't want to clean the dusty edge on it. That's something you're gonna have to do with the glass cabinet door. So all of those are things to think about. I'm glad the trend is back because I think it's interesting and great, and you can do this in a traditional sense or even in a very contemporary one. So I personally like it. Now, if you're gonna do traditional, you would obviously have the glass in the cabinet door and the traditional frame and everything, that's beautiful. But if you're going with modern, I would love to see a metal trim detail on that cabinet door. Instead of it being a wooden frame, let's do metal, let's do it a little oversized. You may even do like a smoked glass look with LED lighting behind. Like there's all sorts of things you could do that would really elevate this, make it look luxurious and expensive and beautiful. Keep in mind, every extra detail you add adds something to the bottom line, right? It's gonna be a little more expensive. So doing this, you know, you do need to budget for it. You do need to see if your cabinetry person offers it or can do it, or you can have your cabinets customized to have this, but it's something worth thinking about. Another huge trend for kitchens right now that people are loving, that is a dated detail, right, that we were getting rid of and now is back, is bronze. Bronze hardware is great in a kitchen. And this, it's popular right now for a lot of different reasons, and we'll go into all of them. Some of the biggest trends for kitchen hardware was black, which is a little high contrast, and so I only really recommend using black hardware if you have like walnut cabinetry or something along those lines, that it's not a super high contrast detail. And then we were really liking brass. Brass is beautiful, but not everybody wants polished brass. Some people like the aged look of brass, which I also think is beautiful, but you know, it's like if you want that real brass, are you gonna polish it and take care of it? Like, probably not. Like, it's a big commitment that not everybody wants to make. I totally respect that. Bronze is the happy medium, right? Not as much care has to go into it. It has the aged look and feel that you would get from the brass that has that patinaed finish on it, but it's not as like stark or harsh or deep as black hardware. And that's a big part of the reason people are really liking it. Also, I love to mix metals. I think it looks great in a kitchen, and a kitchen's the only place you can get away with mixing 3 metals, in my opinion, because stainless steel appliances, fine, you can do them, you have them, everybody's expecting to see them. So I don't really look at that as like, that's the metal. Okay, you could just say like, I want to do brushed nickel, everything to be consistent, fine. I get that. But a lot of people will do stainless steel appliances, brass accents or details, like the hardware on the cabinetry will be brass, and then they might do a bronze faucet, bronze window hardware, or a little detail on the vent hood in that finish. I love that. I love that so much. Bronze is such a beautiful material and a finish for hardware because in my opinion, it's very neutral, right? Like it's got a warm finish to it, but it's not high contrast because it's not like bold, brassy, gold colored. And it also looks good even if you have white cabinetry, right? Like it's just a softer look and feel than it would be if it was, black on a white cabinet. That's very high contrast. So I love bronze. I'm glad that it's back. If you're going to mix that in and you want to add it into the space, I personally like bronze and brass better together than bronze than anything else. If you want the hardware in your space to be super neutral and very consistent, stick with the brushed nickel. It's a classic, it's a timeless, it's not going anywhere. That is a hardware that has never and will never be on trend because that's what it is. It's a pure and simple classic detail. It's all about what you like and what you think adds to the detail and the personality in your kitchen. And I know sometimes it's hard to like decide on what those details should be. I mean, I just met with a client who she's lived in her house for 30 years and never had hardware on her cabinetry. These are some of the things I discuss with my clients and we come up with a solution for. So if you're in a place where you are stuck on any difficult design or decorating decision, you know where to find me at the link in the description box down below, or you can go to intro.co/GarrettLeChic to meet with me on a one-on-one virtual basis where we can talk about all of the things going on in your home. You can show me the space and I can answer those questions for you. Now, another detail that I am so happy that is back, that is dated, that we were getting rid of, we were ripping out, but people are installing again, and I'm very happy about it, are decorative countertop edges. So for the last couple of years, we've liked more modern design in a lot of spaces, and people were using an edge detail, typically referred to as eased. And this is basically just a square edge with slightly rounded corners, which is fine. And I totally recommend it all of the time to some of my clients because they just like it, okay? It's simple, it's easy, it's classic. If I'm looking to modernize a more traditional space, this is my go-to detail because it's clean, it's simple, it's understated, and all of the details are what makes traditional design what it is. So refining those a little bit and opting for things that are simple, do the opposite of that, make it look more modern. But I'm seeing people use OGs, cove OGs, a double cove, all of these details that are really beautiful and they add something extra into a kitchen. And they do bring a lot of specific style to a space. For example, in a cabin, you might find a rough or rustic edge on a countertop. I wouldn't expect to find that in a very traditional or colonial style home. I wouldn't expect to find that in a cottage, but in that colonial style home, I wouldn't be surprised to find an OG or a Cove OG because they have a really polished and glamorous feeling. So those are really great in those spaces. I think it's worth getting online, doing a quick Google. You will find, little spreadsheets that have all of the different type of edge countertop details you could add in to decide what's right for your home. And I see people do this all of the time because we're having a big return to traditional design via English cottage style. And so people will use thinner countertop edges. They may do like an eased edge on just a flat, a single not doubled edge on a countertop. That all is great too, but a lot of people are like, hey, maybe I'll take it to the next level. One of the biggest regrets people have when they do their kitchen is that they didn't upgrade the edge detail on their countertops. So it's something you should think about because it's worth adding. And these are also great details to add into other places in your home. A lot of people look at it and they're like, oh gosh, it's so much extra, it's so much more detail. Not really. Most of this stuff is just cut by machine, so it can be added onto a lot of different countertop styles. I personally think you look at what the most expensive details in a space are, what the most quality details are, or finishes or materials, and then we say, okay, how do we take this and make it work? How do we make that look better so we can save it, save ourselves some money, but also update a space? That's what I like. I don't think you always have to gut everything out and take it down to the studs and redo all of it, okay? I don't think that's necessary. Sometimes it's just about updating and adding in details or letting details you already have shine through that will allow your space to feel updated, to feel timeless and current. All of that can be done. Countertop edges are just one of those things that are back, but even if you have something that everybody else is telling you is dated, look at how you can elevate that and how you can make it look better. Like I always say, sometimes it's nice to get a designer in there to have a look at it and tell you what they think so that you can take that and move forward with it. Now, I'm always going to bring you some of these things and some of these sensible design ideas because that's just the perspective I have. We also talk about doing big renovations on this channel and how you can go about doing those. So if you're finding value in the content, hey, you made it this far, be sure you take a moment, hit that subscribe button and join us. We would love to have you as a part of our LeChic family. And I would greatly appreciate if everyone watching could give this video a like and help it get shared out across this platform. So you've decided to join us today, Oh, so cute. You're so handsome, Cornelius, I know. You're not a risk taker like your brother, huh? Oh, so handsome, so cute. Cornelius took a break from his regularly scheduled nap at this time to come and visit us. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi. Hi, hi, hi. I know, Nard wants to get in my face because now that Cornelius is getting attention, it can't be allowed, huh? Hi. Okay, let's go lay down and let's get back to the video, huh? How's that sound? How's that sound? Okay. Another dated trend that is back that I am seeing are actually square tiles. It's as simple as square tiles, like smaller square tiles. And this was a big trend, and like people would do it to tile countertops and backsplashes, and it would be super consistent. Now we're not so much tiling countertops, but we are doing these like basic square tile backsplashes. And it's mostly through the Zalige tile trend. And hey, I like it. It's actually pretty good. And I talk to clients about it often. It's not maybe my most favorite thing. I think the Zalige tile is like the new subway tile. So I think it's kind of classic. It's kind of timeless. It's not really going to go anywhere. It's not a detail that I think is very trendy, but a lot of people like it. The square tile, that shape, however, is what is something that's dated to me that is now back that people are really appreciating. And even in mid-century design, for example, people are doing these square tile mosaics, where it's just a bunch of little square tiles that are, you know, like it's not natural stone, it's not anything groundbreaking or super expensive, but it's a fine detail that gives a specific feeling of style in a space. And I think that is really interesting. And I love seeing that come back. So these square tiles for backsplashes, for floors, all of that, okay, you know, that's cool and I like it. And a lot of people already have it, which I think is a good thing. But also if you say, hey, I want something that's timeless but feels updated, current, some of these just like basic square tiles are great to incorporate. I've seen people do oversized flooring tiles as backsplash. That's an option, but also I think the pattern matters more. I don't like just a grid of tile, you know, like that's just not my thing. I want to see like a brick pattern, or maybe it's like a 50% offset. You could do a 30% offset. I don't really like that with a square tile though. I think it's too busy. So be sure you're thinking about all of these details and how they come together in your space, whether you have some of these dated finishes or not. Now, another trend that is back, and it's a more luxury trend. I'm seeing a lot of content creators and influencers do this, but I want you to be aware of everything surrounding it, are panel-ready appliances. So panel-ready appliances haven't been super on trend outside of really luxury homes for a good long time. Now I can show you a picture of an original panel-ready appliance and we can all agree it just doesn't look very good. Like, it's kind of obvious. Like, I know that's a refrigerator with a panel on it because I can see the stainless steel edging and trim and everything. It just didn't look very good. So a lot of people were like, why should I spend all this extra money doing that when it doesn't look good? But today, panel-ready appliances look a lot better. They are very convincing. It does kind of disguise it. I have eyes and I'm an intelligent person. So I can look at a panel-ready appliance and I know that's where it is. I can say like, oh, you know, there's a gap at the bottom. That's where the refrigerator is because it would need that there. Okay, you're not disguising anything from me, but you're making it blend in. They tend to be much more expensive than a standard appliance, a freestanding appliance, a stainless steel appliance. All of that is great and something to think about. But what I do for a lot of my clients, or what I suggest, is that if we don't have the budget for the panel-ready appliances, because sometimes that will just double the budget of the kitchen, okay? And it's just not worth it for everybody, is I will say, let's get a refrigerator, or let's have a look at the cabinetry and do it in a way that matches. So I just have a client right now who has a black stainless steel refrigerator. And I said, you know, why don't we paint all of the cabinetry around it like the same black so that it just disappears into the cabinetry and you don't see it. 10 out of 10, stunning, gorgeous. They love it. I love it. I'm recommending it to you. These are interesting things you can do. So basically what I'm telling you is let me make sure nobody's listening in on this. Don't be afraid to get a colored refrigerator. Shocking, I know, that like white refrigerator, ooh, you can actually make it look really elevated, luxury, and expensive in your home. Just look for some of those elevated details on it. And at the same time, nothing wrong with a stainless steel refrigerator. I'm not opposed to it because I'm expecting to see it. I think the panel ready appliances are great that they're back, but there are tricks and hacks you can use to create that look for a lot less money. Well, there you have it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure you check out this video right here, all about some dated trends that are coming back, not just for kitchens, but for everywhere in your home. Be sure you check it out, and I will see you over there. Garrett, and in this video we are talking about kitchen design trends and 2025, what is in, what's out, what's hot, what's not. And the first thing we have to talk about is something that's in. That's the extra thick countertop edge. What does that mean? You know, what is the extra thick edge? When you have countertops installed in your kitchen, they always add an extra lip to the edge so that this stone looks more substantial. It looks thicker, more beautiful, and it has a lip that covers the substrate underneath that holds it in place, that provides support for it. That's the real reason we added on there, so you can't see the messy parts. But what designers are doing now is they're making that lip extra thick. So usually it's like double the size of the countertop, and that's good. You know, it's clean. It's like about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 inches. Well, we're seeing designers do 3 inches. And the reason this is so good and it's really popular right now is because when you put beautiful countertops in, you're spending good money on them. We want to see it. We want to see more of it. We want something that's more substantial and chunky, robust. And that definitely gets you that look. Also, countertops are a horizontal surface, right? They're flat. You know, you see them when you're looking down at it. But when I'm on the other side of the room, I don't so much see that unless you've taken it up the backsplash. But that thick countertop edge, oh, I can clock it from a mile away. I see it, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. So if you're doing really great stone in your home, this is definitely something to consider. And what I'm also seeing is that this is a square edge. And right now what's happening in kitchen design is we're leaning towards more traditional details, like, you know, the details of the door style and profiles you're choosing tend to be a little bit more traditional. We're getting away from shaker, we're going for thin rail, we're going for something that has a little bit of extra trim on it. And so this is a nice way to modernize a kitchen that has traditional detail without making it contemporary, without making it mid-century. It's just an extra little modern touch on a space that doesn't necessarily read as being the complete opposite of some other style. So it's something nice that you can use in a space no matter what the style is. Now the big thing is, what is this replacing? Okay, because it's not really replacing the thin countertop edge. It's really replacing the waterfall edge. Some of you are gonna say, what is a waterfall edge? It basically takes that flat surface that's your countertop and down the side of a cabinet. It flows like a waterfall down the side and covers an exposed side of cabinetry. And it's nice in certain areas, scenarios, and instances, but we've seen it a lot. And the problem with that is stone is very expensive. It's not cheap, it's not easy to do, and you basically are buying an extra slab to do this when you don't really have to. So that's something to think about there. I personally recommend waterfall edge countertops to my clients all of the time. If I think it's going to work for you, whether or not it is the most popular trend, I'm still gonna suggest that. If you're looking to clean something up, or if we have a kitchen that's really busy and I'm like, eliminate that detail there, you know, let's take it clean, let's make that stone go all the way down. It's something I will suggest if I think the style is appropriate for the space. But we are kind of pulling back on it a little bit just because there are some other details we're preferring. Like I said, kitchens are leaning more traditional in design right now. So instead of having a waterfall edge on an island, for example, I'm probably gonna say, let's wrap it in some sort of material or a paneling, trim detail that comes right up to the edge of the countertop. So it's really nice and clean and those lines are sleek and it looks nice, but we can add trim and molding onto it. We can paint it a color so it has a little bit more of that classic reference, but still feels modern. And I'm not gonna ever tell you just to rip something out because it's not not the #1 most trending thing right now. I don't think that's sustainable, and it doesn't really make sense either. And there's a lot of design detail you can consider when you're doing your kitchen. If you need help, which when you're doing a kitchen, you want those details to be correct, I absolutely recommend you talk to a designer like me. I can help you no matter what space you're working on, whether you're renovating a kitchen, updating a bathroom, or just looking to buy the perfect rug for your living room. I am at your service. You can always book a one-on-one design consultation with me using the link in the description box down below or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. Another trend for kitchens, I hesitate to even call it a trend because it's really a return to something timeless, is actually all about hardware and the hardware color and detail we're going for. Right now, we are favoring things that are a little bit more subtle and refined and have less contrast. So something like bronze and unlacquered brass or an aged brass finish are really popular right now. And I'm seeing a lot of people mix them in their kitchens and in their homes because it has warmth to it. And that's the big thing. We want warmth in a kitchen. We're done with these cool tone spaces. And so we're looking for hardware metals and tones that have warmth to them. For example, chrome is very cool toned, as where brushed nickel is warmer. So right now, a lot of people are going for brushed nickel instead of chrome. But the big trend in what's happening in kitchen design right now is bronze and unlacquered brass or aged brass. And I think that's all really amazing. And it's really great because they have a certain authenticity to them. There's a variation in tone there that adds a little bit of detail, but it's not flashy. And I think that's something important to remember because hardware really is the jewelry of the kitchen. And sometimes we want a little bit of that flash, but right now what's happening with colors and tones in kitchen is all about warmth and refinement and layered details in a space. So having flashy hardware on these cabinets and in these spaces that are really warm toned, it doesn't always make sense. So right now I'm seeing, like I said, bronze and an unlacquered or aged brass finish. I say unlacquered or aged brass because unlacquered brass is just brass. It's just brass that is unlacquered and it will age, it will patina. I don't personally care for it because as it patinas, it can stain whatever it is on. So if you get an unlacquered brass faucet, it might stain the countertop underneath. And I just don't like that. So that's not what I would do. I would go for aged brass, which is an actual finish that is just applied to the brass, or it's made to be aged quickly and then lacquered over that so it doesn't continue aging. And that's something to think about. If you really like brass, go for polished brass or lacquered brass. That way it's always shiny and nice so you don't have to polish it. What is all of this replacing though? All of this was replacing the matte black hardware and the gold toned hardware. The reason it's replacing them, one, matte black is just, it was just a little overdone, a little saturated. You see like black and white kitchens and it's very high contrast. Right now we're going for something a little more refined and subtle, and that's okay. I still like matte black hardware, and you can mix matte black hardware with even like bronze, and I think that's kind of an interesting mix. It's unexpected and I like that, but it's also replacing gold because gold is difficult. It's not an actual finish. It's not gold plated here, okay? It's just gold colored. And so every brand and company has a different color of gold and they don't all match perfectly. It makes it so much harder and more difficult to select hardware that works cohesively throughout your home and your space, which is why if you look at any major designer's work, their social media profiles or their feature magazines, you don't see faux finished hardware because it's just impossible to get it to match and it doesn't read the same in real life as it does in photos. So most of them are just leaning towards brass because it's a real good, honest material. It's authentic and good quality. So it's something to think about when you are designing your space. If you're not going for one cohesive brand for everything, which most of the places that make faucets don't make handle pulls and hardware and knobs and stuff, so you probably won't. Make sure that the finish across the board on all of these different details, if it's a faux finish, is consistent. That way it doesn't stand out or glare to us when we look at it that it's mismatched. It doesn't match and it doesn't look right. That'll pull the eye towards it, and that's not the detail you want everyone to focus on. I'm just gonna be honest with you, this next one is the #1 kitchen trend, and in my opinion, it will be the #1 kitchen trend for the next 3 years at least, okay? That trend is quartzite. Quartzite is a natural stone material for countertops, and it's different than marble or granite or quartz itself. It's a natural material. It is pulled from the ground the same way marble or granite is. So that's something to think about. It also is a little bit more high-end and expensive, but people really like quartzite because of the refinement in the movement on the stone. It doesn't have really dramatic veining, or at least the Taj Mahal quartzite that is extremely popular right now doesn't. It has a certain opacity to it where it has depth and dimension. You can see into the stone a little bit. It's very interesting, and it has a really strong sense of refinement to it. It is very beige. Okay, it is very beige. If you like beige, this is for you. You already know about it. I don't have to tell you. But for everybody else, we're just talking about quartzite. It's a beautiful material. It will be the most popular thing for the next 3 to 5 years even, because it's an interesting new material and people are liking it. It's available in all of the finishes, you know, whether that's polished, honed, leatherized, finished. I've actually seen quartzite done in a polished, leatherized finish, which was very interesting. Quartzite is something people are really liking because it's not as delicate as marble, but it doesn't have the busyness of granite. So it's not as strong as granite. It has certain stain resistant properties that granite doesn't have. And it's really interesting. I always recommend you seal a stone countertop, have it professionally done. That way you can kind of guarantee yourself you're not gonna get any massive stains or scratches or anything like that, but it is a good material, something worth considering. It's an honest material once again, so there is variation in it. I always say to every one of my clients that's working on a kitchen, go to the stone yards, go for a walk around, and you will see the most beautiful things, the most interesting stones and everything, because quartzite comes in a lot of different varieties, and it's very pretty. Now, what is quartzite replacing is what has got me excited. It's replacing Calcutta Viola. And I never liked Calcutta Viola. I told you this from the beginning. I told you when it first started coming out that I just wasn't in love with it. It's nice, but it's not my favorite thing because Calcutta Viola is as you think it is. It is Calcutta marble, which is delicate, okay? And it's, you know, Calcutta has a very busy veining in it, but the Viola is violet. And it's not even really violet, okay? It's maroon if you ask me, but that's beside the point. It's very specific, and you have to have a certain type of style, and you really have to think meticulously about what you're using with this to make it work and look good. And I think there are instances where it does, but this has been oversaturating the social media design space for a while now. I don't like it. It's just not for me. It looks, I don't want to go into all of that because I don't want to offend the people that have it. I love it for you if you do. For me personally, my favorite stone that I could recommend or suggest to anybody is Calcutta Monet. Calcutta Monet has the colors of a Monet painting. It's very soft, there's lots of movement, there's warmth to it. It's pretty, and it could be applied to most kitchens or spaces in a home. I think that's really great, but something really, really specific like Calcutta Viola, in my opinion, will be dated very quickly, and you will get tired of it very quickly. So I don't think it's worth it. At least the Taj Mahal quartzite is neutral enough that it's a little boring, yeah, but I'm not gonna get tired of it, and I can accentuate that with other details in the space, like the hardware, like the cabinetry color, like the details that are applied to that application. I think that's interesting. But when you choose a very, very specific type of stone, sometimes it gets a little dated quickly, or you get tired of it, and then you spent all of this money on something you don't like anymore, which is why I always say it's worth talking to a designer when it comes to these instances. When you're doing a kitchen, you know, a little bit of time from a designer could save you thousands of dollars in the long run, so it's definitely worth it. That link is in the description box down below. Guess whose interest was just piqued by that? Oh, apparently not yours. Okay, well, this is who you've been seeing jump in and out of the screen. If you don't know, this is Arden. Arden is a Cavalier, and he's the most beautiful little dog ever, aren't you? Oh, you're so cute, Arden. People tell me not to kiss my dogs, but you know what? Never, ever will I not kiss my puppies. Okay, well, anyway, subscribe, join us, become a part of our GarrettLeChic family. We would love to have you here. We post 2 videos every week all about interior design, what's happening, what's on trend, what's timeless and classic. So we would love to have you here. Please join us by hitting that subscribe button. And if you've made it this far in the video, please go ahead and give it a like. Okay, let's get back to the video, Arden. You're such a stinker. You're such a stinker. I know. Every time we talk about kitchen trends, we always have to talk about what's new with cabinetry this year. What's happening, what's the latest thing, what's on trend for cabinetry, colors, tones, materials. This year it's gonna be all about wood. Last year it was also wood, it was white oak. This year it's gonna be walnut. I like that better. I'm tired of white oak. I do like it and I think it's great, but I think it's been overdone and it's like, I can't stand to see white oak everything. It's very beige to me. I'm not an all beige everything type of person. I love beige, I love an all white space even. But when everything is the same tone, it's just a little generic and it's easy to consume and take in and digest, but then it starts to be like there's nothing else going on. So I like a little bit of color, I like some contrast infused. Walnut is a darker toned wood, which we all know. Walnut can lean a couple of different ways depending on the actual finish or the stain color. It can be a little red, which works with cherry floors or mahogany pieces of furniture. It can lean more brown, which is I think what we're going to see because it's a little more neutral and you can play with that easily. Like I've been saying, we're leaning into traditional design details and we're also leaning towards warmer spaces and tones. So this is something that's really great. It's warm, it's got some depth to it, and it's really beautiful. I love a walnut stained anything. So what are the design details though? It's all about the door profiles and styles. I personally like an inset door style where the doors are inset to the frame of the cabinetry, but that does lean heavily traditional. And if you like that, go for it. But a lot of people also think you will nick and, bump into the frames of the cabinetry, and then, you see that wear there. For me, that's a part of the beauty of the material, but for other people, they don't want that. So they go for full overlay. There are some details you can add to there, like the light rail molding at the bottom of the cabinetry that creates the illusion of it being inset without it actually being. And that's something to think about. I love the walnut cabinetry that's happening right now, and I think it's very pretty. I think it's timeless and classic. It's an honest material. It's authentic, and that is really beautiful. And what that's replacing really is the painted kitchen. I don't think there's anything wrong with the painted kitchen. I love it, especially if you want something that's really light and bright or a very specific color. Painting a kitchen is great. Actually, a big trend for painting kitchens is taking a painted kitchen and painting it brown so that it looks like wood, but that's not the topic of today's video. We're replacing the painted kitchen in a certain way. I do also like a two-toned kitchen. I think that's great too. You could do a wood island and then painted cabinetry on the perimeter. That's beautiful. I really like that. What we're not doing anymore is a two-tone kitchen where the uppers and lowers are different colors. We're being consistent on the perimeter and then an accent island. I think that's really great. Walnut is the thing though. That's the wood tone we're looking for. Profiles for doors, let's talk about that. The thin rail really is what it is very popular right now. It has a little bit of a traditional undertone, a little bit of a European undertone to it, as where the shaker is a little bit more classically American in its styling. So I think that's really good. Shaker is nice. I just like to see a little bit of a detail there instead of it just being like squares and blocks and 90-degree angles. Give us a little something, give us some softness to it. And if you go for a walnut kitchen, that also really looks beautiful with a lot of these warmer toned metals. And I don't think you could really go wrong with like a brushed nickel or a brass, an aged brass or a bronze. Even a matte black could look good with walnut cabinetry. It would be kind of unexpected and a little bit of a modern twist, but it's something worth considering. I'm so excited about what's happening with kitchens in 2025 because some of these design details have got me so excited. They are gonna look gorgeous and you are gonna be seeing so much more of them all across social media. So be on the lookout for them and know where you heard it first. While we're talking about what's trending for 2025, let's talk about what's not. Be sure you check out this video right over here, all about overdone, overused, and overplayed design trends that we need to let go of, and I will see you over there.